Thank you, Mr Speaker, and I welcome the opportunity to speak at the final stage of this bill. The bill is not a perfect product, but we've had to take a balanced judgment on it. The bill, as originally introduced, had at its core objective the primary objective of disqualifying prospective and existing special advisers with serious criminal convictions, and then other secondary objectives designed to produce a revised Code of Conduct and Code of Appointment. At the second stage of the bill, as Mr Mackay pointed out, I had stated that DFP guidance had already moved to tighten protocols and that the review in 2011 strengthened the vetting procedure and moved it into line with the procedure applied for other civil service appointments. And Alliance did vote against the passage of the bill at that stage, as instead we believed that there was an opportunity to place the existing code on the appointment of special advisers on a statutory basis. Indeed, that's the essence of how we then tried to amend the bill at consideration stage, as it would have perhaps been a neater and less controversial means of advancing this issue. Nevertheless, the introduction of an explicit appeal mechanism, albeit using some rather loaded language, is a major change from the original bill, and the process has stumbled towards, in effect, placing the revised DFP Code of Appointments on a statutory basis. Mr Speaker, as others have already stated, this issue has now become much broader than the words on the paper or the direct consequences of the legislation. It has become a focal point for highlighting the frustrations at the lack of recognition of the place and needs of victims within our peace process, 15 years from the Good Friday Agreement. We are continuing to address the past in a piecemeal manner, with demands for inquiries, etc., when instead we need a comprehensive process for dealing with the past. So until we reach that point, we will have to make calls on individual matters that come before us. The challenge is to ensure that what we do is not fundamentally against the spirit and letter of where this society has evolved to over the past decade, and I do not believe that voting for this bill goes against this. Let me make it clear. Alliance supports the Good Friday Agreement and accepted the logic for the early release on licence of prisoners convicted of paramilitary offences before 1998. Not only did we support the Good Friday Agreement, we supported the St Andrews Agreement, which committed the two governments to working with businesses, trade unions and ex-prisoner groups to produce guidance for employers in order to reduce barriers to employment and enhance the reintegration of former prisoners. That is a recognition of the much reduced risk of reoffending. However, it does not mean that we excuse what they did. So we support the agreements, but the agreements themselves do not solve our problems. They are a basis to work from. And I stand by my comments in previous debates that as we endeavour to move away from our dark past and seek to build a better, brighter future for Northern Ireland, we will be faced with many issues that have the potential to cause hurt and pain, and legislation will not always be the answer. However, a degree of political maturity and mutual respect is also required if we are truly to take this society forward. Political parties must consider how their actions are perceived by others, including by victims. And perhaps if this had been the case, there would never have been the need for this bill to come forward. So, Mr Speaker, in bringing my comments to a close, it's clear from the contributions thus far that we're no closer to dealing with the past in a comprehensive way. Until we agree a mechanism to do this, our political system will continue to struggle with a win-lose approach around a succession of individual aspects of the past. I hope that today's debate becomes a watershed and that parties genuinely start to move towards creating that process. Thank you, Mr Speaker, and we support the bill.